Hey guys, let's get more news, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. The debate about when the Pittsburgh Steelers would sign quarterback Aaron Rodgers ended Thursday. But then the discussion of what number Rodgers would wear in black and gold began. Rodgers wore number 12 with the Green Bay Packers, but no one has worn number 12 for the Steelers since quarterback Terry Bradshaw in 1983. On Saturday, the Steelers announced Rodgers would wear number 8 in Pittsburgh. The quarterback also donned number 8 with the New York Jets the past 2 seasons. Also on Saturday, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reported more details about Rodgers' contract in Pittsburgh. Rappaport tweeted Rodgers' one-year deal is worth up to $19.5 million. The quarterback has a $13.65 million base salary, and $10 million of his contract is guaranteed. Rodgers can make an additional $6 million by reaching incentives. Rappaport added that the veteran quarterback officially passed his physical and signed the deal. Aaron Rodgers will wear number 8 with the Steelers. It's not a huge surprise that Rodgers will don number 8 instead of the number 12 he wore with the Packers. Number 12 is one of the most historic quarterback numbers in the NFL. So, Rodgers was actually in the same situation when he joined the Jets 2 years ago. No player has worn number 12 for the Jets since quarterback Joe Namath retired after the 1976 season. With number 12 also not available in Pittsburgh, Rodgers will stay with number 8. Punter Corliss Whiteman wore number 8 for the Steelers last season. Before that, former first-round quarterback Kenny Pickett donned the number from 2022 to 23. Arguably, the best number 8 in Steelers history is another quarterback who, like Rodgers, didn't come to Pittsburgh until he was an old veteran. Tommy Maddox wore number 8 for the Steelers from 2001 to 2005. Maddox posted a losing record as a starting quarterback with Pittsburgh, but he had one terrific season, where he went 7-3-1 while averaging 7.5 yards per pass, and won the league's Comeback Player of the Year award in 2002. During that campaign, Maddox also led the Steelers to a 17-point playoff comeback against the Cleveland Browns. Terry Bradshaw's criticism of Steelers' Rodgers' pursuit. Although Rodgers didn't wear number 12 with the Jets, Namath gave the 4-time MVP permission to wear his number. It's not clear if Bradshaw also gave Rodgers the go-ahead to wear number 12 in black and gold. In all likelihood, though, he didn't. Bradshaw was critical of Pittsburgh's free agency pursuit of Rodgers just a little more than a week ago. That's a joke. That is, just to me, is a joke, Bradshaw said in a radio interview with 103.7 The Buzz in Arkansas on May 27 via NFL.com's Michael Baca. What are you going to do? Bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? That guy needs to stay in California. Go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there. To answer Bradshaw's question, yes, in all likelihood, Rodgers will be with the Steelers for a year. Even if Rodgers has a tremendous season, he will turn 42 in December. The Steelers likely view the 20-year veteran as a 1-year stopgap. Then next year, Pittsburgh will target a quarterback early in the 2026 NFL Draft. It sounds like Bradshaw, though, would prefer if Kenny Pickett was still Pittsburgh's starter. You throw a kid in there for 2 years, and you've got an offense that doesn't fit and doesn't work, and they can't run because their offensive line's not even good enough for a run-blocking team, Bradshaw said of Pickett. Therefore, they're saying Kenny Pickett is a failure. He wasn't a failure. The Steelers were a failure. Well, it is all over but the shouting, as it were. With the news that the Pittsburgh Steelers have signed Aaron Rodgers, the long and arduous journey to land the future Hall of Fame quarterback has come to a merciful end. I, for one, am glad it has come to an end, but is it the end or just the beginning? Let's take a step back and dissect the path that led us to signing a quarterback who will be 42 years of age by season's end. It's no secret that the Justin Fields-Russell Wilson experiment was a complete disaster, as evidenced by the fact that neither quarterback will be a Steeler in 2025. The aforementioned disaster falls squarely on the shoulders of Mike Tomlin. Full disclosure, I was not at all happy about signing either Fields or Wilson. Frankly, I thought letting Mason Rudolph walk last season in free agency was a mistake. We knew what we had in Rudolph. We chose not to re-sign him, only to re-sign him a year later. It doesn't make sense to me, but what do I know? The Pittsburgh Steelers held out for Aaron Rodgers, but it is a sign of desperation. Congratulations to the Steelers for signing Rodgers, who put it off until the last possible minute. From my perspective, we allowed Rodgers to dictate the terms. That doesn't sit well with me. Look, I understand that Rodgers is a future Hall of Fame quarterback who can still sling the rock, so to speak, but he is over 40 years old now and didn't set the world on fire in 2024. Putting his age aside, is he even a good fit for the scheme that Arthur Smith runs? I would say no, he's not, for this one simple reason. Rodgers is a thrower of the football, meaning he likes to get the football down the field. Smith runs an Earhart-Perkins type of offensive scheme, meaning it is a ball control and throw it when you have to type of scheme. Could Smith alter the scheme to play to the strength of Rodgers? Of course, and I hope he does, but what happens if Rodgers gets injured? I am not wishing that upon him, of course, but the reality is this. Our offensive line is a question mark. Who knows how many hits and sacks Rodgers will be able to absorb at his age? I doubt very many. All of this comes down to one very simple and very plain thing. If you ask me, we are in desperation mode. I don't think it's a stretch to say that Art Rooney too was displeased with how the 2024 season ended. I was displeased with how the 2024 season ended. Every Steelers fan should have been displeased with how the 2024 season ended. That disappointment has forced Tomlin into a corner. We need to win a playoff game in the worst way. The Rodgers signing is a clear act of a desperate organization. Like everything else we discuss, only time will tell if the signing was fruitful or feckless. I hope it's the former and not the latter, for everyone's sake. It took 3 months, but the Pittsburgh Steelers made their biggest signing of the offseason. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers will play, presumably, his final season in Western Pennsylvania, hoping to find the Steelers their first playoff win since 2016. Rodgers makes the Steelers better, but he won't make up for all of their flaws, especially on the boundary. He's not creating big plays with his legs or making the throws that defined his prime. As such, he'll be relying on his supporting cast as much as they'll be leaning on him, and they'll be doing so with one above-average receiver. Stephen A. Watch more. After trading for Seattle Seahawks star receiver DK Metcalf and then dealing George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh is back to where it began the offseason on the perimeter. On Thursday, veteran receiver Gabe Davis visited the facility in hopes of finding a spot in the passing offense. He left without a deal. While that doesn't necessarily mean he is removed from the team's plans, Steelers insider Mark Kavally set the expectation for a potential Gabe Davis signing. In short, he won't count on Davis being the late addition to the receiving corps. I don't think it will be Gabe Davis, Kavally said on Kavally plus Mac. I just got the feeling when I was there and people were talking the other day. He just came in for a visit. A complimentary visit like a mint on your pillow. Pittsburgh could still add a receiver. Veterans like Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen remained unsigned. Several depth targets are available, too. Davis's big play ability could be enticing for an offense that lacks potency outside of Metcalf. Robert Woods, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller, and Ben Skoranek are competing for boundary roles, and Davis, at his best, would add a downfield threat to that rotation. However, he was released just one season into a 3-year deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars, tagged with a failed physical designation. His torn meniscus is complicating his free agency. Maybe they were just trying to give him the once-over because of that knee, Kavally said. I don't know how aggressive they were in trying to sign him. I think they move on from Gabe Davis. I don't think we will hear from him again. Given the need at receiver, it's no surprise Pittsburgh gave Davis a look. But if he's not fully healthy, there's little reason for the Steelers to be interested, especially as Rodgers' preferences play into their late off-season strategy.